हे सौम्य सुशांत प्रशांत मौन अखिलेश विश्व के स्वामी, हे दया सिंधु आनंद धाम के वासी प्रभु निष्कामी, हे सौम्य सुशांत प्रशांत मौन अखिलेश विश्व के स्वामी, हे दया सिंधु आनंद धाम के वासी प्रभु निष्कामी, दया करो हे परम पिता बनूं तेरे अनुरूप, दया करो हे परम पिता बनूं तेरे अनुरूप। ओम नमो भगवते श्री अरविंदाय, ओम नमो भगवते श्री अरविंदाय। विश्वनाथ हे विश्वहृदय विश्वात्मा हे विश्वेश्वर, विश्वनाथ हे विश्वहृदय विश्वात्मा हे विश्वेश्वर, विश्वातीत विश्वमय हे प्रभु व्यष्टि भाव में ईश्वर, विश्वातीत विश्वमय हे प्रभु व्यष्टि भाव में ईश्वर, सर्वेश्वर अखिलेश्वर प्रभु तव रूप अनंत अरूप, सर्वेश्वर अखिलेश्वर प्रभु तव रूप अनंत रूप। ओम नमो भगवते श्री अरविंदाय, ओम नमो भगवते।
ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ବନ୍ଦେ ମାତରମ୍। ମୁଁ ଅନୁରାଗ ଦାସ କହୁଛି। Vande Mataram everyone. We have Anurag with us. So we will start today's session with Mother's Music. Kindly. gratitude to the Divine Mother that we all are here. Over to Sanjeev Bhai.
Thank you, Rajesh bhai. I would like to give a brief introduction about today's speaker, Sri Anurag Banerjee. With the grace of the Divine Mother, we are really fortunate today to have Anurag with us. Born to famous parents, Jayanto and Sanghamitra Banerjee, who was a film actor, Anurag started his life at the Future Foundation School, Kolkata, a part of the Lakshmi's House founded by Jayabi. Sri Aurobindo very simply puts it as the one who chooses the infinite has been chosen by the infinity. Having an MBA degree with specialization in HR management, his conscious journey starts at the age of 15 on his visit to Sri Aurobindo Ashram, Pondicherry. So deep is the impact on the heart and soul of a young boy that at the tender age of 20, he paints a biography of a renowned sadhak, Sri Dilip Kumar Roy, titled Achin Pathar Vidyapati. Grace of the Divine Mother pours on him when he translates 100 poems of Sri Aurobindo into Bengali, titled Devattor Sram. At this young age, he has also written his first book in English on another beloved child of the Divine, Nirod Baran, titled The Surrealist Journey. He has been an associate professor in a business school in Kolkata and also been a faculty at Sri Aurobindo Center of Advanced Research, Pondicherry. Established as a writer, poet, essayist, he has lectured across the length and breadth of the nation in various symposiums, seminars, etc. He has established the Overman Foundation in Kolkata in March 2010, which is a leading research center dedicated to the mission of the Mother and Sri Aurobindo. The Overman Foundation has penned and published several books on the lives of the Mother and Sri Aurobindo and their disciples, which is published in their website also. A list of names are quite a huge. The Overman Foundation also is known for creating Sri Aurobindo's Smriti Mandir, which has the third largest collection of objects used by Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. Request all the devotees of Sri Aurobindo and Mother to visit at least once Sri Aurobindo's Smriti Mandir in your lifetime. He has been felicitated by several centers in Kolkata and Chandanagar for his activities and work on the Mother and Sri Aurobindo. One aspect that touches me is his humility. Despite such accolades, such a knowledge, one what to describe him would be his humility, apart from his sincerity and dedication to the research on the Mother's and Sri Aurobindo's work and the lives of their disciples. We are really fortunate to have him in the midst of us today, to take us down the memory lane to the times when earth grew vibrant to the thoughts divine. Let us learn from him. Let us listen to him about the Mother and Sri Aurobindo from the direct experiences of the sadhaks of Sri Aurobindo Ashram, whom he had direct interaction for many years. So it is a great opportunity for us to know from the experience of Anurag. And at the end of the session, there will be a question and answer session. So you can pass your question at the end. And with this, I would like to invite Anurag to start his session. Thank you, sir.
Is my voice audible?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
It is audible. Yes, it is audible.
Okay. Well, beloved members of my spiritual family, a warm greetings to all of you. Let me first thank Sanjeev Bhai for giving me this opportunity to be present among you today. It is always a joy to speak about the Mother and Sri Aurobindo. And thanks to Sanjeev Bhai, I have got this opportunity to relish that feeling of immense joy. I have been asked by him to speak on the topic, learning from sadhaks and sadhikas of Sri Aurobindo Ashram. And I would share with you today some anecdotes which I have heard from many senior inmates of the ashram. Many of these stories have not been published in any books, to the best of my knowledge. However, through these stories, I believe we would get certain inputs through which we can make our life useful. Dear friends, we all know that mankind is going through a grave crisis nowadays due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. Our pattern of life and living has changed drastically. In such an hour of crisis, one wonders whether there is any guidance which we can follow to make our life worth living, or is it truly the end of everything? To quote a few lines from a poem of Sri Aurobindo, which in a way gives expression to what we are thinking right now, and I quote, "Is this the end of all that we have been, and all we did or dreamed, a name unremembered and a form undone? Is this the end?" All of you must have heard the name of Nolinikanta Gupta, the paragon of integral yoga, who is respectfully addressed as the Manasputra of Sri Aurobindo. Now, Nolinida had once written an article titled "The End of Civilization." Reading this article, a sadhika of the ashram had asked Nolinida, "Nolinida, is there no hope for this humanity?" Nolinikanta replied in the negative. And he added, "This humanity has become so corrupt that it is bound to go." Deeply perturbed with his reply, the sadhika appealed to him, "Please, save humanity." Nolinikanta remained silent. A couple of years later, on 14th January 1984, that is exactly a day after his 95th birthday, Nolinida called for the sadhika and said to her, "The true humanity will remain." I repeat, Nolinida said to the sadhika, "The true humanity will remain." In the very next month, that is on 7th February 1984, Nolinida left his body. So friends, we find this assurance from the list of Nolinikanta Gupta, one of the greatest yogis of the Aurobindo community, that the true humanity would survive, would certainly survive. On another occasion, Nolinida was asked by the same sadhika, "Do you give this humanity 200 years? She said, "Yes." So, no matter what happens, nothing will happen to mankind. To quote Sri Aurobindo's words again, "Till all is done for which the stars were made, till the heart discovers God and the soul knows itself." And not only Nolinida, but Sri Aurobindo too assures us, and I quote, "And even then, there is no end." Dear friends, it is true that we are in a difficult situation. But is life ever without any difficulty? Is there anyone in this entire world who has never faced a single difficulty? We all know that. But have we ever pondered why difficulties crop up? Why, if we are on the path of the divine, then why are we subjected to a cascade of difficulties? The answer has been given by the mother. She has said that difficulties come because there are possibilities in you. If in life everything was easy, then it would be a life of nothing. Because difficulties come on your way and it shows you the possibilities. And elsewhere she had commented, difficulties are always a blessing if you know how to face them. It is only through difficulties that we become aware of our potentiality, the strengths which we have, but we are not aware of them. So, one must always be ready to accept difficulties, not as a danger, but as a challenge. The challenge to prove one. Let me share an anecdote with you in this regard. You must have heard the name of Udar Pinto, who was instrumental in setting up the Harpagaon workshop in Pondicherry. Now, Udar Pinto had joined the ashram in 1937 and had offered all the money he had to the mother. Now, after setting up this workshop, he needed some money to buy certain tools. When he informed the mother about the monetary needs, what did the mother do? She went inside her room and brought out 1 rupee. I repeat, just 1 rupee, and gave it to Udar with a smile. And she said, "Here is the money." Udar was fairly new at that time in the ashram, but he immediately understood what a great gift the mother had given to him. He realized that the mother had given him a challenge because she knew that Udar could rise to it. Udar neither had any desk nor anyone to give orders to. He had to do most of the work with his hands. But there was that glorious 1 rupee from the mother, which acted as a channel of her force into him. On another occasion, Udar was given a sum of 200 rupees to start a workshop. Again, this sum of 200 rupees was insufficient. Yet, he accepted it with joyful gratitude and made all the machines of the workshop all by him. He realized that the mother had given to him a source of perpetual joy of fulfillment through this glorious challenge of creating a workshop from scratch. This was the mother's way of working. The same principle is applicable in case of illnesses also. When we fall ill and suffer, we ask ourselves, why am I suffering so much when I am a child of Preeti Dasgupta, who was the elder sister of Sri Manoj Dasgupta, the present managing trustee of Sri Aurobindo Ashram. So, Preeti had settled in the ashram in the 1940s. Now, once, Preeti developed several big-sized multiple-mouthed boils, one after the other, under her left armpit. As a result of these boils, she was in great pain, and her body was boiling with fever. She chose not to consult a doctor, but to rely on the force of the mother to cure her. But one day, when she could no longer bear that suffering, she went to the mother and said, "Mother, you only have to wish and you can help me come out of this suffering. Why don't you cure me, mother? Why don't you cure me?" The mother told Preeti, "My child, you will understand when you become conscious that through this pain from the boil, I am saving you from so many other dangers. Needless to say, she recovered too. There are plenty of such stories. There was a young girl who was suffering from fever almost regularly. One day, when she went to the mother scolded her so harshly that the young girl could hardly control her tears. She rushed back to her house with tears flowing down her cheeks. She thought that the mother did not love her. But the next day, she saw that the fever had left her body and she did not suffer from it for several years. She realized that the mother had shouted at her only to drive away the fever. Let me tell you the story of another girl. This young girl, used to suffer from terrible stomach pain. One day, she was supposed to play tennis, but due to the pain, she felt that she would not be able to play. When she conveyed to the mother her inability to play, the mother scolded her so much that she went back home to play tennis regularly. Another story. Ravi Gupta was the youngest son of Nolini Kanti, was suffering from fever and terrible headache. One day, his elder brother informed the mother about Rovida's illness. The mother said, "Tell him to come to me." Now, Rovida was not physically fit enough, but at the same time, he could not disobey the mother. So what to do? He somehow managed to walk to the ashram. He met the mother and told her about his illness. The mother said, "It is very good." Now imagine Rovida's state of mind. He was astonished. He was almost dying to the pain, and yet the mother saying, "It is very good." But no, the mother had not finished her words. She said, "One can get well in the blink of an eye. One can get well in the blink of an eye." Saying so, she placed her hand on Rovida's head. And what was the result? Rovida came down the stairs, almost galloping. He was cured. He was completely cured. So you see, there are many ways in which the mother's compassion works. We have to realize that behind all the sufferings we are subjected to, there is a secret purpose. What might seem to be a ruthless action can be, in reality, an act of grace. To quote from Sri Aurobindo Savitri, there is a reason in every stumble and fall. There is a reason in every stumble and fall. But do we realize that every time? No, we don't. Those of you who are working in the corporate sector, especially in the human resource department, know how difficult it is to effectively deal with people, isn't it? Now, when we deal with men, we have to keep in mind that no men are similar. People come from different backgrounds. They have received different kinds of education. They have different personalities, and hence their likes and dislikes won't be similar. When there are such differences, how can one adopt a common or a general approach to deal with them? Therefore, it is advisable to deal with men after analyzing their nature, of imposing her will on others, and that she acted differently for each individual according to the necessities of the person concerned. And how did she act? Let me tell you who was in charge of the building service department of the ashram. This crew had rusted and was bent as well. He showed this crew to the mother and said, "Mother, heat it well and then straighten it up with a hammer. It can still give, sir, satisfied with the mother's instruction, the Sadak left. After he left, another Sadak, who was in charge of another department, came to the mother with another screw whose condition was far better than the previous one. He showed the screw to the mother and said, "Mother, this screw has become old. I would like to discard it. Do I have your permission?" The mother replied, "Yes. Yes, you can discard the screw." After the second Sadak left, the mother was asked, why did she allow the second Sadak to discard the screw whose condition was quite satisfactory, but instructed the first Sadak to use the old screw? The mother replied that the first Sadak had come to her to seek her permission for the concerned task and was willing to accept her instruction. But the second Sadak had already decided to discard the screw, and he only wanted the mother to approve of his decision. Here lies the difference. On another occasion, a student of the ashram school who was quite close to the mother had asked her whether he could go to a cinema hall to watch a film. This happened in the 1950s, and the film which this young father wanted to watch was Raj Kapoor's Awara. Now, the mother immediately gave him her permission. The mother's instant approval somewhat surprised this young boy, because he knew that the mother never allowed anyone to go to the local cinema hall to watch a film. So he told the mother that if she had the slightest reluctance, then he would not go to watch the film. It was then that the mother told her that she did not want any inmate to visit a cinema hall, as the atmosphere of the place was not consonant with the lifestyle of the ashram. Needless to say, the boy didn't visit the cinema hall. Thus, we see how the mother, despite being the supreme authority of the ashram, never imposed her will on any of the inmates. To give you another example of how the mother dealt with people, I am narrating another instance. One of the early members of the ashram was a Bengali gentleman named Mrityunjay Mukherjee. Now, Mrityunjay had as his helpers a paid workman who was a technician and a young boy whose job was to carry a ladder from place to place. Once it so happened that the young boy did not come to work for a number of days, and the workman was unwilling to carry the ladder as he was too proud of his dignity. So Mrityunjay approached the mother with a request to appoint another boy to carry the ladder. The mother exclaimed with surprise, "What? Two people cannot carry a ladder? I do not understand." Mrityunjay understood that the mother wanted him to carry the ladder and do a coolie's job for the workman, who was a paid employee of the ashram. Why the mother wanted him to carry the ladder? And what was the reason? Because the mother, one reason was that, seeing Mrityunjay carrying the ladder, the workman, who was reluctant to carry it earlier, came forward to lend his hand. Thus, the mother showed that this is the way for how a successful leader works with his co-workers. Another point. One could never complain against anyone to the mother. The mother taught her children not to emphasize on the defects of the person, but to focus on the brighter side of their personality. That is, not to focus on the defects, but on their qualities. One day, someone complained to the mother, "The young girl, it is let us say her name was X. Now X did not study at all. The mother replied, but see how beautifully she embroiders. She is like a fairy where work is concerned. On another occasion, in the ashram, there was an old inmate whom everyone found to be absolutely useless. He was very quarrelsome and crazy. One of the inmates asked the mother, "Mother, why do you keep him?" The mother replied, "But he makes such nice envelopes. No one makes envelopes as well as he does." The mother was a master psychologist. She had her own way of dealing with people, depending on the situation. There was one group of young boys who were working in the fruit room. In those days, fruits for Sri Aurobindo and other Ashramites were sent separately by the mother. Now, these young boys began to pilfer some fruits. They would put little grapes in their pocket or take an apple, and so on. The matter was reported to the mother. We know that in the meditation hall situated at the ground floor of the ashram main building, the mother used to give blessings to the inmates every morning. Now there is this huge photograph of the mother placed exactly at the place where the mother used to sit. So, as I was saying, when the mother used to give blessings to the inmates every morning, a tray full of flowers was kept next to her. And with these flowers, the mother used to bless her children. One day, during the blessing, a tray full of fruits was seen next to her. So this was something new. People were used to seeing trays full of flowers next to the mother. But on that day, there was a tray full of fruit. Everyone was wondering, what is the matter? Why are there so many fruits? The mother knew the names of the persons who were stealing fruits from the fruit room. So when they came, the mother said, "Oh, I am told that you love fruit very much." She gave X an apple. Everybody was wondering why X is getting an apple. She was part of the stealing group. Good Lord, he almost collapsed because the whole ashram started talking. The mother has given him a fruit because he was stealing fruit. One stroke and the whole thing stopped. Not one word spoken. She just gave fruit. There was another group of youngsters who used to take mangoes from the dining room for making pickles. The gentleman who was in charge in those days, his name was Ishwar Bhai. Now Ishwar Bhai scolded them and later reported it to the mother. But what did the mother do? The mother gave Ishwar Bhai a good scolding. She said, whenever the boys come, allow them. Don't stop them. Mark this difference. Now, when these boys came to know that the mother had allowed them to go to the dining room and pluck fruits, they stopped their mischievous activity for good. So if they went, they would ask and then pluck. This is how the mother played. Here is another story for you. And I'm sure this particular story would surprise many of you. One of the inmates of the ashram was fond of drinking. Every night, he would go out of the ashram, drink, and then come back to his room in the ashram building. But as the gate would be locked, someone had to open the gate and let him in at night. This went on for quite some time. One day, some inmates went to the mother and complained against this person who was drinking and returning to the ashram late at night. The mother assured them that she would look into the matter. Now, what did the mother do? The mother gave this person who was fond of drinking a key. With this key, he could open the gate and go straight to his room without disturbing anyone. After a few days, the mother asked the complainants whether the person who was drinking still disturbed them. They told the mother that he had stopped drinking. The person who was drinking a couple of days ago, now he has stopped drinking altogether. The mother now asked them whether they knew why he had quit drinking. They replied directly, "No, mother, we do not know." The mother told the complainants that they came to lodge their complaint because this person, being a member of the ashram, just like them, was enjoying the extra privilege of having a drink, which they were not allowed to do. So the main motive was not to stop him from drinking for his own good or to rectify his habit, but to protest against the privilege for which they were grumbling with it. Otherwise, they would have certainly inquired why he had quit drinking. Now the mother called that person who used to drink. When he came, the mother asked him, "Why did he quit drinking?" He replied that every night when he would return in a drunken state, he was filled with remorse because the mother had given him a key which he was misusing. He was misusing a gift from the mother. Gradually, he began to curtail his visits to the wine shop until one day he realized that he had conquered the very urge to drink. This was the mother's way of taking action. But that does not mean that the mother did not scold anyone if she was displeased. She did scold, and if necessary, she would slap also. This particular incident which I'm going to narrate now took place before the school started officially in December 1943. Chandrulal, who was the ashram engineer, was taking French classes in the ashram. The children on that day were not in a mood to study. After observing them for a while, Chandrulal asked the children, "Do you want to study or do you want to play?" With the exception of one girl, everyone said that they wanted to play. So Chandrulal allowed them to go out and play. But later, he went to the mother and complained against the children. The next day, when this young girl who wanted to study went to meet the mother with her sisters, the mother scolded her severely. At that time, this girl was a teenager. She did not know French or English sufficiently well to converse with the mother. So she listened to the mother's scolding silently. Later, when Chandrulal went to meet the mother said that she had scolded that young girl for wanting to play instead of studying. Chandrulal said that mother, she was in fact the only student who wanted to study. Why did you scold her? The next day, when this young girl went to the mother, again the mother scolded that girl. But why? The mother said, "Why did you not tell me that you were not the one who opted to play?" You see, initially she scolded her because she thought that this girl also wanted to play and she was interested in studies. When she came to know that she was the only one who wanted to study, the mother scolded her that, "Why didn't you reveal the truth? Why were you silent? Why did you not tell me that you were not the one who opted to pay. On another occasion, when the mother was giving darshan at her balcony, some of the younger inmates of the ashram who used to wait for her in the corridor were talking softly among each other. The mother could hear their voices when she was giving darshan. As we all know, during the time of the balcony darshan, no one was supposed to talk or whisper. When the mother returned, she asked who were talking. Everybody was quiet. Only one person came up and said that he talked during darshan. But in fact he didn't. In order to save others from the mother's wrath, he took the blame on himself. The mother went to him and slapped him. Later, when she was told the truth, she called that father and showered so much affection on him that he said, "Mother, if I receive so much love from you after receiving a slap from you, I am willing to receive a slap every day." Such was the mother. There was sweetness and compassion even in her anger. Coming to a different topic now. Friends, no matter how conscious we are, we tend to be a bit careless about material objects. We forget that Aurobindo has written in his Life Divine that there is consciousness even in matter. And that is why Aurobindo has repeatedly advised against wastage. He has warned us that rough handling or careless breaking or misuse or waste of physical objects acts as a great hindrance to the bringing down of the divine truth to the material plane. Wastage and spoilage of material drive away the manifestation of the power of wealth. So, an effective utilization is always advisable. To illustrate the point on how the mother prevented wastage and controlled the supply of materials, let me narrate two incidents. In the 1930s, there was an excellent organization in the ashram to prevent wastage. Bits of soaps and candles, empty matchboxes, burnt matchsticks, pieces of paper, old envelopes, pieces of cloth, etc. were collected and put to use in some form or the other. Like bits of soap were melted and converted to bars of soaps. Similarly, the small pieces of candles were melted and converted to candles, bigger candles. Unused envelopes were turned inside out and reused. Handmade paper was made from the pieces of paper, and the pieces of cloth were joined together and transformed into serviceable linen. Thus, the mother saw to it that even the minimum of wastage should be avoided. This incident, which I'm going to narrate now, took place when the ashram had more or less become bigger than it was in the 1930s. Once, there was a serious shortage of cement, and the responsibility of procuring it rested on Udar Pinto, who was then in charge of the purchasing department. Now, Udar Pinto asked the mother to do something about this crisis, since all the work associated with construction had come to a standstill due to this crisis. The mother assured him that she would look into the matter. Very soon, the supply of cement commenced, and it took the shape of a flood. All the warehouses in the ashram were full of cement bags, and the concerned departments were unable to utilize the cement fast enough to meet the inflow. So the managers of the department asked Udar to stop the supply, which he did, but without consulting the mother. Eventually, the supply stopped. But it stopped completely for such a long time that there was again a shortage. And this time, the shortage was much more severe. Udar went to the mother for help and narrated to her the entire story. the mother was displeased at Uda's action in stopping the supply. She told him that when one goes to the divine for help, he should be prepared to receive it in whatever measure it comes. If the supplies were large, then the capacity of the warehouses should have been enlarged enough. The mother remarked that the order for the cessation of the supply showed a deep lack of understanding of the divine's way of working. Here is another example of how the mother ensured that things were not discarded when they were torn. The mother used to wear gowns, but whenever there would be a tear in her gown, instead of discarding it, she would ask some of the sadhikas who stitched the mother's gowns to patch that area and embroider a flower on it. Wherever there was a hole in her gown, they would patch that area up and embroider a flower. Through her own example, the mother has shown how we should take care of every little thing as long as it can be used and treat them with respect. We have heard how the mother was particular about not discarding her clothes. But what about Sri Aurobindo? What was his attitude towards such materials? When they were washing the clothes of Sri Aurobindo, were afraid that the threads may give way any day, and thus the piece may get completely torn. One of the sadhikas reported to Champaklal the condition of the napkin. So next time they received a new one. Champaklal discarded the old cloth and he brought in a new one. Now, surprisingly, when Sri Aurobindo noticed that a new cloth was being used in his room to wipe his table, he remarked to Champaklalji, "Champaklal, how could you reject so easily something which has served you faithfully for so many years?" Such was Sri Aurobindo. People called him the impersonal avatar. Yet, this same personal avatar was passionate personified. On one occasion, when a follower of his, Udir Kumar Sarkar, the father of Monakar, once when Sudhita was suffering from malarial fever, he had puked on Sri Aurobindo's script of the Mahabharata, which he was rendering into verse form. But to Sudhir Kumar's utter astonishment, instead of scolding him for ruining his writings, Sri Aurobindo calmly rose to clear up the mess and nudged Sudhir. Not a single word of admonition escaped his lips. On another occasion, Pujalalji, who is to clean the apartments of Sri Aurobindo and the mother in the first floor of the ashram main building, had gone to execute his duties one morning. The mother told him that Sri Aurobindo had asked him to be more careful and quiet that day. Why? Because a sparrow was resting on the top of the middle door, and Sri Aurobindo did not want Pujalalji to disturb that sparrow. Can you imagine how concerned Sri Aurobindo was for a sparrow? Everything and everyone had a place of love in its universal heart. Such was the case with the mother as well. One thing that she has taught us is how to be grateful. She would receive and accept all the little gifts her children made for her. So much love and appreciation. Here is a beautiful story of gratitude about the mother. Some young Bengali devotees were traveling by train from Calcutta to Pondicherry to see the mother. Also traveling on the train in their compartment was a simple village man. Now, when these Bengali devotees were talking amongst themselves of the mother, this man was very much moved. He asked them to bring an offering of 1 rupee from him to be given to the mother. When his devotees went to the mother, told her the story of this simple village man, and gave her that rupee which that man had offered to the mother said, "How can I ever repay this man?" Once, someone sent her a small sum of money along with a note saying, "Buy yourself a mango." Probably he thought that the mother was fond of mangoes. But the mother was not. In spite of not being fond of mangoes, she sent her one and ate some bites of it to show her gratitude. Such was the mother's love for her children. Friends, we had started this talk with the topic of a crisis, and we would end this talk with the tale of another crisis which the ashram went through in the 1950s. When Sri Aurobindo was physically present, the ashram did not have so many commercial departments as it has now. The ashram ran solely on donations. The devotees used to send regular contributions to the mother for running the ashram. But after Sri Aurobindo left his body, his donations stopped coming. At that time, the ashram had 800 inmates. Every day they had to be fed, workers had to be paid their wages, but no money was coming to meet such expenses. The mother ran the ashram initially with whatever money she had. But when she ran out of money, she began to sell her ornaments. At one point of time, she had no jewelry left. Every piece was sold out to meet the expenses of the ashram. Now what to do? She needed 1 lakh rupees. So she decided to sell the saris she had bought. She had, if I remember correctly, she had around 1,000 saris, which were embroidered by the sadhikas of the ashram. The mother asked Duman Bhai to sell these saris. Duman Bhai informed Navjatji about the monetary requirement. Navjat immediately sent 1 lakh rupees and asked Duman Bhai to keep the saris with him. The mother was not aware of the fact that her saris were with Duman Bhai. After some time, she again needed money. But now, she had nothing to sell. Her ornaments were gone. Her saris were also gone. So what to do now? Then Duman Bhai told the mother that her saris were still with him, so she could sell them at a price. The mother replied that she would not sell anything which has already been sold. So she decided to distribute her saris among the sadhikas of the ashram. That is how the mother's saris reached her children. The mother continued her fight with financial struggle till 1972, that is, till her 94th year. After Sri Aurobindo's birth centenary, the financial position of the ashram began to improve. And the ashram has never faced any financial crisis after 1973, the year when the mother left her body. Let us keep this story in mind. Let no crisis, no matter how severe they seem to be, disturb us, because crises are bound to go. We must remember that the darkness of the night will not remain forever. The light of dawn would eradicate the darkness of night. Let us aspire for that light. Let us wait patiently for that light to come. And the world would again become as safe as it used to be. Thank you, friends.
Thank you very much, Dada, for your beautiful explanation of the vivid stories about sadhaks and their experience with the mother and Sri Aurobindo. I think it is heart-touching and quite inspirational for all of us to hear these stories. And we have never heard these stories before. So I will now open this platform for audience questions. Request everyone to ask any questions if you have. Before anyone asks the question, I have one question here.
Sure.
Regarding Sri Aurobindo's voice, mostly we have not heard this. Do you have any input, any experience from the sadhaks of ashram about Sri Aurobindo's voice?
You want to know how was Sri Aurobindo's voice?
Yeah, how he was talking, and it is not recorded, right? Yeah.
But there was a recording of Sri Aurobindo's voice. Sri Aurobindo's voice was indeed recorded in 1899 when his maternal grandfather, Rajnarayan Bose, who is known as the father of Indian nationalism, passed away. So after his grandfather passed away, Sri Aurobindo had written a poem on him. In those days, we had this system called phonograph. Initially, we had this gramophone. Prior to the gramophone, we had this device called phonograph, with which one could record a voice. One of Sri Aurobindo's relatives had recorded Sri Aurobindo's recitation of that poem, which he had written on his grandfather. And that record was there with this family till 1946. In 1946, when in August, there was a riot in Calcutta, and the house where Sri Aurobindo's relatives were staying, this house was looted, and several items were destroyed. Among the items which were destroyed was this phonograph record of Sri Aurobindo's voice. So it's a pity that we have lost it, but there are some people who have heard Sri Aurobindo speak. They have told me that Sri Aurobindo's voice was very sweet. It was somewhat feeble, but very sweet, very, very sweet. And he spoke in the accent of a Cambridge University graduate. He didn't speak like ordinary Indians. Whenever he spoke, one felt that a Britisher who has graduated from Cambridge University was speaking. He had that particular accent. Interestingly, though he had a very, very sweet voice, but when he used to recite the hymns from the Vedas, strangely, his voice would become masculine. It would become very heavy at the time of recitation. But otherwise, it was a very sweet voice.
Nice to hear this here. So we'll get information. So, any questions from anyone?
Hello?
Vishwajit,
yes, Sanjay. Should I ask the question or should I go to the final
question? Which is, you said that you can ask one question. You can.
It is really a beautiful session. One by one, we went through many of the stories, and many of them we have never heard before. So the very question that comes to the mind of the people, that we are undergoing through a period of crisis now, as mentioned by Anurag at the beginning. So what should be our inner attitude towards these kind of issues the earth is facing now? So is there any instance in the ashram where the mother or Sri Aurobindo has given any advice to the sadhak for what should be our true inner attitude during such unexpected situations?
Well, I have already answered this question towards the end of my talk, where I have said that let us wait patiently for the light to come. Said, the darkness of the night will remain till eternity. During dawn, when the sun rays would come, the darkness of the night would be dispelled. Similarly, this current situation will also not last long. 102 years ago, a similar crisis had come when the Spanish flu had taken place, and as per a survey, as the Spanish flu had taken place soon after the First World War, according to a survey, people died in that flu. I mean, so many people, I mean, the number of casualties were much higher in the Spanish flu as compared to those who died in the First World War. At that time also, people thought that this would be the end. This is the end of civilization. But no, we have progressed. This also will not be a permanent thing. There will never be a complete destruction. We are all aware of the concept of pralaya, isn't it? Now, somewhere in the agenda, the mother has said that we are now in the 8th stage. In the 8th stage of evolution, there would not be a complete destruction. New beginning would start from the existing thing. So let us have faith in what she has said. We should be calm within, and yes, it is necessary to take preventive measures, but at the same time, it is essential to have faith in them. When they are with us, nothing would happen to us. The state will act as a force field, as a shield. Oh, yeah.
Nirkema? Not audible. In that mic. Okay, Bhaiya. So with this, we conclude today's session. I would request Mr. Bhaiya to speak something.
Please repeat what you said. I missed your voice.
Biswajit Bhaiya will sum up the session today. Biswajit bhai. Rajesh bhai, could you unmute them? Biswajit bhai. There is some problem in the...
Yeah, I can hear you. Hello?
Yeah.
Well, in case there aren't any questions right now, what I said is, after the topic is over, you can ask the participants to send their queries to me via email or through WhatsApp, and I'll be happy to answer them.
Okay, sure, bhaiya. I think there is some question, but I think there is some problem in the conference call itself. They are unable to unmute. There are some questions and not able to speak, it seems. Is Aparna is there?
Hello.
Yeah. Aparna. So.
Vande Mataram.
So maybe we will sing a bhajan. Before that, I would like to thank you very much. Thank you, Anurag, I think from the entire community of the devotees who are listening right now. And whenever I have heard Anurag, he is a living encyclopedia of Sri Aurobindo's and mother's life and the sadhaks of Sri Aurobindo Ashram. So whenever I had met him, I never stopped asking, because it will be a most memorable moment of my learning about Mother and Sri Aurobindo from him, because he has closely worked with the ashram, and also he has done deep research about the sadhaks and sadhikas of the ashram who have influenced the Sri Aurobindo fraternity in a big way. So thank you very much, Dada. We would like to invite you in future again, and we'll also ask questions. There are some questions, but since there is some technical problem, we'll send you those questions, and you can ask. You can give us those answers in the email. I will send you.
Sure. I'm always at the service of the children of the mother. And it will be an honor for me.
Gratitude to the Divine Mother for today's session. We'll end with a bhajan by Aparna Bibi. Over to Aparna Bibi.
Vande Mataram. My pranam to all. जहाँ जहाँ मैं जाऊँ तुझको ही मैं पाऊँ, जहाँ जहाँ मैं जाऊँ तुझको ही मैं पाऊँ, हाथ पकड़ ले मेरा माँ, कहीं मैं खो ना जाऊँ, माँ कहीं मैं खो ना जाऊँ, हाथ पकड़ ले मेरा माँ, कहीं मैं खो ना जाऊँ, माँ कहीं मैं खो ना जाऊँ, जहाँ जहाँ मैं जाऊँ तुझको ही मैं पाऊँ, हाथ पकड़ ले मेरा माँ, कहीं मैं खो ना जाऊं, माँ कहीं मैं खो ना जाऊं। चमक दमक की ये है दुनिया, मुझको लगती भूल भुलैया। चमक दमक की ये है दुनिया, मुझको लगती भूल भुलैया। कहीं मैं भटक ना जाऊं, हाथ पकड़ ले मेरा माँ, कहीं मैं खो ना जाऊं, माँ कहीं मैं खो ना जाऊं। बिखराओ तेरी माया नगरी, मोहमयी ये दुनिया सारी। बिखराओ तेरी माया नगरी, मोहमयी ये दुनिया सारी। कहीं मैं फिसल न जाऊं, हाथ पकड़ ले मेरा माँ, कहीं मैं खो ना जाऊं, माँ कहीं मैं खो ना जाऊं। काम क्रोध है आस पास में, भय लालच है सभी दिशा में। काम क्रोध है आस पास में, भय लालच है सभी दिशा में। कहीं मैं डर ना जाऊं, हाथ पकड़ ले मेरा माँ, कहीं मैं खो ना जाऊं, माँ कहीं मैं खो ना जाऊं। मंजिल मेरी दूर बड़ी है, राह तमस से भरी हुई है। मंजिल मेरी दूर बड़ी है, राह तमस से भरी हुई है। कहीं मैं थक ना जाऊं, हाथ पकड़ ले मेरा माँ, कहीं मैं खो ना जाऊं, माँ कहीं मैं खो ना जाऊं। जहाँ जहाँ मैं जाऊं, तुझको ही मैं पाऊं। जहाँ जहाँ मैं जाऊं, तुझको ही मैं पाऊं। हाथ पकड़ ले मेरा माँ, कहीं मैं खो ना जाऊं, माँ कहीं मैं खो ना जाऊं। हाथ पकड़ ले मेरा माँ, कहीं मैं खो ना जाऊं, माँ कहीं मैं खो ना जाऊं, माँ कहीं मैं खो ना जाऊं, माँ कहीं मैं खो ना जाऊं। माँ
Thank you very much, Devi. So, with this, in today's session, again, I'm thankful to Anurag for your gracious presence, and we will again contact you in future. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Sure. Gratitude to the Divine Mother. All of this. Thank you.
Goodbye.